you know, everybody loves to have a meal prepared for them, so having those, you know, already cooked foods is kind of a nice benefit to our families. And so we hope to do more with that. We hope to expand that into restaurants and maybe hotels and different places around the community, and hopefully share, you know, have enough eventually to share throughout the county with the different pantries. So that's kind of what I'm hoping. So we've had a lot of working moms that have come in, and you know, just to get some food to get them till the end of the month when, you know, they can start over. And one mom said that she went home and her little boy thanked her for going to the grocery store because the food that we're giving is no different than what they would buy. We're seeing a lot more seniors that are coming in now that we have the choice model, because previously when we were just giving a box of food, you know, they didn't want another bag of rice or another bag of pasta. They, you know, they just don't eat that. But now that they can choose and only take what they need, I think they feel like, you know, they can get what they need. And in turn, the exciting thing is that those seniors have been giving back to us.
And then we show them where things are. So we have the food over here, there's some more food over here, and then if they need any toiletries, they can grab them from here as well. We also, something that I forgot to mention, we also have a clothing bank, professional clothing bank. So if students are in need of clothing for, let's say, an interview, or they're going to a career fair and they don't have anything that is professionally acceptable, then we allow them to, or they can pick whatever they need here, and they don't need to return it, so it's just theirs once they take it. And we also have that resource available for them too. And then once we tell them where everything is at, then we let them be by themselves, and just tell them to collect or drop off the sheet that they took initially, and they're off on their way. When I started working for the College Assistance Migrant Program, I learned that this office, this suite, had a food pantry. And so I started promoting it, and I saw a lot of students coming in after that. And so after that initial learning about the food pantry, then I started to think about poverty itself. And that led into the food insecurity project that I'm conducting along with other team members from the institution, from WSU. And I think poverty at WSU is a latent issue, like it's there. And we don't know the extent to which that affects our students. We know that it's a problem, but we don't know what kind of problem or how big is it. But it's one of those things that sometimes we don't think about. We think that our students might need academic assistance, but there's other issues like poverty that are also affecting their academics. And so I think we oftentimes we don't think about it as much as we should. And so that's why I'm really happy that programs like or offices like the CCE and offices like this one are doing something about it. And of course, providing food assistance to our students is not going to solve their poverty. I think that's just one of the minor things. There's a lot more other issues that affect students that are in poverty, but I think providing a little bit of food assistance does help a little bit. I would also think that poverty is, there is various definitions about what poverty means, right? By institutions, by the government, etc. But I think poverty is very personal. Very self-defined, and so there's a lot of factors that go into poverty, and I think it's just a matter of seeing where the need is and then talking to those students and see how they define poverty and how is it that those particular factors in poverty are affecting them as students.
Working at the school, I've seen so many hungry children, and I was a parapro and I worked one-on-one with a lot of children. And when I first started there, we did not have a breakfast program, and so a lot of kids, you know, they would come and, you know, you're trying to work with them in the classroom, and they would be crying and they would be hungry because they hadn't had breakfast and probably had not had dinner the night before. And so I just knew there was such a need to help these families out. A lot of young, like kids that have dropped out of high school. We have quite a few of those that are coming in. There are quite a few elderly. I would say young and elderly would be the majority of it.
Around three main thrusts. They are housing, energy assistance, and food and nutrition. Our housing assistance takes on many forms at Community Action Center, everything from the homeless to housing permanent homes for folks. And then we're doing our best to build up.
Everything is deeper and more complicated than it appears. You know, everything is much more complicated than Band-Aid solutions. Like, we have a food pantry here and have offer people assistance with basic needs, but that, you know, only solves a 1 month or 1 day of people's lives. It doesn't lift them out of poverty. For a few people it does, because by giving free food they have money to spend on other needs. So for some it does, but mostly it's, in summary, just everything is more complicated than it appears. So that's the difficulty, is knowing, because you have to look at people individually, not as a whole, to understand all of their different situations. So it's hard to just lump them all together as poor people. They all have their own very different specific problems, and many of those are disabilities, and family members get ill and they have to quit their jobs and spend time with them, and it's just one accident can put a whole family into poverty, and then it turns into generational poverty. So it's tough.
Volunteering at the food bank. A lot of the people that volunteer here are retired, or, you know, have physical issues or whatever. I have mental health and physical issues, so I can only come in for a couple hours at a time. I can't hold a full-time job or even part-time, really, because of the mental health issues and stuff. So it's nice to be able to give back to my community and be able to do it, you know, in short bursts of times. When I first moved here, I was homeless, and they had the resources that I needed, and at some point in time I thought, you know, I need to give back to those places that gave to me when I needed things. And I've been in their shoes, and so I can communicate with them. And this place also has a fellowship that you can feel when you walk in the door.